Welcome to the Thrive with Omu podcast, where each week I'll chat with an amazing entrepreneur on their growth journey. They'll be sharing this with us to help and encourage us to take that bold step. Hey, beautiful people, it's another Friday, and I have my good friend here with me, Jennie Bellinger, aka Coach Jennie B. Hi, Jennie. It's so good to have you on my podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me, Omu. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I am a mom. I'm a businesswoman. I've been a coach now for, 11 years, coaching in the world of direct sales, network marketing, and multi-level marketing. I'm a networker, international networker. I've been a member of BNI for almost as long as I've been coaching. And I absolutely love meeting people and helping people solve problems all around the world and building business at the same time.
Awesome. So what's the she-her in brackets? What's the story behind the she-her?
Oh, gotcha. So the story is right now, as you know, I'm sure you've probably heard pronouns are a thing. So knowing people's pronouns, at least here in the States, is become a big deal. And because there are so many people who are starting to fall into non-traditional pronouns, so outside of the he, she pronouns. My oldest child is one of them. My oldest child was born with female parts, but does not feel like a girl. So my oldest child goes by they, them pronouns, and that feels much more comfortable for them. So I have that up there as a way for anybody who maybe has non-traditional pronouns to feel comfortable. So, because one of the things I do as a coach is I like to make sure that people understand that I am a safe place and a safe space for them to come to, no matter what's going on in their lives. So, so that's a way of me helping certain people feel very comfortable.
Awesome. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got here? I know you do a lot of things.
Oh my gosh.
Point?
How did I get to where I am now? The long journey in a short story is I grew up as the daughter of an Air Force officer in the United States Air Force. So I grew up moving all the time. We were always moving. We spent all of our time in the United States. We never got moved outside of the US. And so that impacted me in terms of how I interact with other people. So, because growing up, people were transient because I wasn't the only one who was moving. I had lots of friends where I'd moved to a place and they had already been there for 2 years. And so we'd become friends. And then 6 months later, they would move away so I learned very quickly how to make friends quickly because you don't know how long they're going to be around. And so I like to enjoy people while they're here in my life because growing up, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have the internet to connect with friends. It was long distance phone calls, which was expensive, or writing letters in the mail. So that took time. And so some of my friends remain pen pals, and we always hope that
pen pals.
Right. So
pen pals.
Oh my goodness. So it was a great experience because it taught patience too, because you write a letter and then you wouldn't get anything back for like a month. Which really cracks me up these days when someone texts you and you don't text them back in 5 minutes and they're like, where's your response?
You're
and I'm like,
responding.
It's been 5 minutes.
Has come so fast. Everyone wants an answer immediately.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I grew up in the Air Force, so that impacted kind of how I see the world. Um, and uh, once I grew up, went off to college, decided what I wanted to be when I grew up, which at the time in my 20s meant I wanted to be a middle school teacher. So I was a middle school
Nice.
teacher for a number of years. And when I got pregnant with my oldest child, I took some time off from teaching to be a mom for a little while. And when I tried to go back into teaching, we were in the middle of a recession here in the United States. And I think it also had expanded around the world, that wonderful real estate bubble that crashed between 2008 and 2012. And so I remember in 2010 I went on 18 interviews to a variety of schools in my area and heard no 18 times because they couldn't afford a teacher with experience.
How
They
did that
wanted
make
it was for somebody who's a high I on the disc, being rejected is really hard.
you? Tell me about it.
And by the last no, I finally just stopped and said, "Okay, universe, if I'm not supposed to be in teaching, where am I supposed to be?" And 2 days later, in the mail, in my mailbox came an invitation to an event. And it was for a direct sales company. My sister-in-law had just started her business with this company. And I thought, well, I'll go support her. And I went to that event, not realizing it was the universe's answer to my query of what should I be doing. But by the time I left that event, I also had a business.
Awesome. 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 Awesome.
So I started my direct sales journey in fall of 2010 and have not looked back. So that's where I started. So I did my direct sales business for 7 years, during which I earned 9 incentive trips, car bonuses, cash bonuses, basically all the
Awesome.
thank you. Basically all the things that people tend to see as successful in the world of direct sales. And what I saw happening in the industry though was I remember I was about 6 years into my business, and I remember going to one of those regional rallies where they get everybody together, at a hotel like conference room. There's about 100 ladies in the room, and I remember looking around and realizing that there was only 5 or 6 of us who had been in that room 6 years ago. We had
Oh,
had
wow.
Yeah, we had 90% turnover. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Where did all those other ladies go? Huh. What makes us different? What makes the 5 or 6 of us different? So I started talking to all these ladies who were sticking around and seeing what they were doing and what their mindset was, because I wanted to understand the mindset of success, the actions of successful people in the industry. And then I started talking to women who had been doing it for a long time in other companies. So not just my company that I was with, but started talking to ladies in other companies. And
That's that's really important because I mean, a lot of people have come to me for that network marketing thing. I guess it's my mindset, but in my head, it's just something I can't do.
right.
And so as soon as they start, I say to them, everyone has their strengths. This is not one of mine. I
Well,
just nip it in the bud.
well, that makes perfect sense. But here's the thing: it is a mindset of success. It is a dedication to your goals and a willingness to learn and be coachable and
Dedication
try
and
different things.
tenacity. Dedication and tenacity, because I'm imagining that the way that I sound, I probably am not the only one that sounds like that. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure that if anyone sounded like that to me once or twice, that I'm willing to go to a third person.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it really takes uh a willingness to hear no a lot, but all of those things are true for any entrepreneur. Um, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're direct sales, because I hear
That's
just
true.
as many no's as a coach as I did in direct sales, and I think it really, I think it was a great training ground for me because there is a much more negative perception around direct sales and network marketing than coaching or other, and I'm going to put air quotes around traditional businesses.
Yeah.
But one of my many missions within my business and my podcast is to help change the perception of direct sales and network marketing, so that way people don't see it as a negative, because it's honestly one of the most amazing ways for people to get into business and get started, and it allows mostly women. I mean, because let's be honest, 76%
Mostly,
of
yeah.
people, it
Yeah.
yeah,
Mostly we.
are it is mostly women. It gives them an opportunity to start a business for under $1,000. I mean, US. There's some companies here in the US where you can start a business with a company for $49. I mean, it's an insanely inexpensive way to get
Yeah.
started,
The
and
entry level is low.
it
Or
is
well,
very low.
there are various entry levels, so you can actually find one that suits your budget.
Exactly. And I mean, I've literally seen, and I mean this with no exaggeration, I have seen a direct sales business save a woman's life. I
I
mean,
can
that was
imagine it.
my experience.
I can
So
imagine it.
it
I can,
was I had a gal who hosted a party because my business was a party plan business. And at the end of the party, she asked me about the business opportunity and I got her signed up. So at the time, it was $35 to start a business. So she paid the $35 to start a business. And the 6 months after that, she was my number one rock star. I mean, she
wow.
just was killing it in the business. She was going and doing parties very regularly with people, and she was amazing. She came to training and she learned and she implemented, and then I get a phone call about 6 months, 7 months after she started her business, and she let me know that she was taking a step back. And in fact, I wasn't going to be hearing from her for a while. And my jaw hit the floor, and I was like, why? What's going on? And in that moment on the phone, she shared with me that the one thing she hadn't let me know was that her husband had been abusing her for years.
Oh, wow.
And around the time that she met me, he was starting to get physical with their children.
Oh, wow.
And she was using direct sales as a way to get out and a way to get out safely. So she had been hiding her business from her husband for 6 months, taking that money, stashing it away in a secret bank account so that she could leave. And it literally saved her life
My
because
goodness.
she was able to get away safely. And in that moment, when she told me that story, I realized that this business was so much bigger than me. It was so much bigger than myself, and it changed my whole perception of what this could do for people. And
Yeah.
because it was literally saving her life, and for other women, I watch it increase their confidence. I watch this business and
Because you're earning. There's a
yeah,
confidence that comes with earning.
absolutely. And because they've earned the confidence too. And that's what's so amazing, is watching that shift in who they become from that, because that part is my story. Because remember, I came into the business with hearing 18 no's from
Exactly. I was
schools.
just waiting for you to finish, and I was going to say, so it's safe to say that the 18 no's, even though it kind of set you back, and obviously you were not happy about it,
Yeah.
the networking business saved the day.
Oh yeah, it really did, and it allowed me to be in charge of my time. It allowed, which, had I gotten a job teaching, yeah, had I gotten a job teaching, I would have been away from my child, and having the direct sales business allowed me to be home with my child. During the time that I had my direct sales business, I had another baby, so I was able to then be home with her, and I it was wonderful. It was the perfect place for me to be, because I was able to earn money, contribute to my family, and I didn't have to be gone from 7 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, which is very typical of school teachers here in the United States. And then, not only that, they're grading papers after dinner, while their kids are doing homework, so they're still working when they're at home. So they're not even really
At
home
home.
with their family. Yeah. So it that business gave me the opportunity to really be the mom that I wanted to be, and be a role model for my kids. And so they don't remember me as a teacher. They've never known me as a teacher. They know that I
I can
used to be a
imagine.
teacher, you know, but they know me as a businesswoman. They know me as somebody who has been running a business for their entire life. And they've gotten to see, I mean, my kids have been to BNI meetings, because there were times when it was summertime and I couldn't, find somebody to watch the kids, so they just hung out in the corner with, coloring books and crayons. Well, we had a BNI meeting. you know so my kids are going to be, and they've listened to the BNI podcast with me in the car. It's so funny. My kids are like, "Mom, not another Dr. Ivan
But nice.
podcast. Can we listen to something else? Mommy just needs one more CEU, guys. Just one more." But they're going to be the greatest networkers ever.
I know. So, I mean, I can imagine how it was the 18 years, and then you started this networking business. Um, how has that journey been? And I know that that's been a long journey that has given birth to other things. How were you able to? How did you do it? How did you? How did you? How did you um, move from? You've told us how you moved from just being doing the network marketing, and how you noticed that the ladies were not um, they kept changing and dropping off. I figure that's what gave birth to the coaching.
Yeah, it really did. Well, the idea that coaching was needed, because I had already been coaching my team members, which is how my team got to number one in the world, was because I was coaching my own team members, and without knowing that that's what I was doing. I didn't realize that I was coaching. I was just, helping them identify what they wanted from, because I said, I I don't care what you want from your business. It doesn't matter to me. If you just want to make an extra $100 a month, I can teach you how to do that. If you want $500 a month, whatever it was. So for me, it wasn't about my goals for their business. That's what a lot of leaders do, is they want their team members to want the trip, want the car, want the
They
things.
impose they impose their goals on the team members. Some people might just have joined it for the hobby. Some people might have just joined it just to make $100, like you said, a month. They're not looking to go on a
Yeah,
holiday or buy or own a car.
exactly. And
Everyone
you
has
know,
their own goal.
and some ladies did it just for the friends.
Yeah.
Some
Or
ladies
just
did
to
it.
get out, just to mix up.
Yeah. Yeah, they just wanted to be able to leave the house and talk about something other than like Barney the purple dinosaur, like their kids wanted to talk about. I mean, I literally had a team member who, was super happy to go have an adult conversation. And so she used her business as a way to maintain her sanity as a stay-at-home mom.
I can
You know,
imagine.
everybody has a different goal for what they want to create from their business, and so I was just helping them keep their goals in front of them, their faces. So if they said they wanted to make $300 because that's what it costs for their daughter to be at dance class, or
Exactly.
$500 so their son could play select baseball or something, then I was helping them make you know do what they needed to do in order to make the 300 or make the 500, whatever it was, so that they could continue to, you know, achieve that. And you know, they were doing what they wanted to do with knowing that I was accepting of whatever their goal was. Um, and so I was already coaching without knowing it, but then seeing that turnover, like you mentioned, really is what spurred the understanding of how necessary coaching was going to be. I just didn't realize coaching was a thing, but that's when a bunch of business coaches started showing up in BNI chapters around me, and I started meeting them.
Law of attraction.
Right. Exactly. The universe keeps answering my questions whether I ask them out loud or not.
Exactly.
and and so I had conversations with those business coaches, and they were not serving people in the direct sales or network marketing industry. And so I recognized, hey, here's a bunch of people who need coaching. Here's a bunch of coaches who won't talk to them
Yeah.
because the coaches had stories in their own head that, oh, well, they can't afford
Don't,
me
we don't even
anyway.
understand it. We don't
Yeah.
even understand the business. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them, it was, I don't understand the business. Some of them outright said, I don't agree with the business model, so I don't want to work with them. And some people just said they can't afford me. And I was like, well,
Oh,
with
wow.
that attitude, you're right. You're not going to attract the really successful ones. You are correct. They can't afford you. And so I recognized that there was this underserved population of direct sales and network marketers. And I got connected with a coach who was certified in a process. And I went and got certified in that same process because it was a it's not a business certification. It's a coaching certification for the whole person, because
Okay.
for direct sales and network marketers now, in a
So
post
working on
COVID,
the person and the person's mindsets as well.
yeah, well, and because direct sales and network marketers are working from home, have always worked from home. Now, in a post COVID world, there's so many more of us who are working
Yeah.
from home anyway. So, but the one thing that I recognized that the direct sales and network marketers that were experiencing was the fact of how much their life and their business all is so
Yeah.
intertwined,
Okay,
because
yes.
they're doing business from their kitchen table, they're doing business from their living room couch. Some of them had put a desk in the corner of the basement, or in an extra bedroom they had created an office, but they were still working from home, so their kids were walking in on them doing work. They were, taking time from talking to their team members to going and helping their kids with homework and get their kids to do their chores, and all of these things were,
Yeah.
back and forth, which, you know, pre-COVID, most business people did not understand
Yeah,
that.
they did. They did. They didn't. They didn't. I struggled with that. I would say to people, "Oh, can we meet on Zoom or something?" And they're like, "No, drive to my office."
Yeah.
But now
Nope.
everyone is ready to get on Zoom.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, recognizing that they had all of these things going on in their life that were affecting their business. Their business was affecting their life. I knew I couldn't just go and be certified as a business coach. I needed to be able to support the entire person. So I got that certification, and in 2017 I walked away from my direct sales business so that I could coach full time and not have the conflict of interest between my direct sales business and the fact that I'm coaching people in the direct sales industry. Um, because one of the things that I have been told by some of my clients who have come on who came from other coaches who are coaching in the direct sales industry. So there are other coaches in my industry now. 5 years ago, it was me and like five big names in the world, and there really weren't that many people coaching in the industry, but there are many more doing it now. But the unfortunate thing is some of them are doing it while they're running a business at the same time. And
Okay. So they
and
don't feel
sometimes,
safe.
yeah, and exactly. And so sometimes, those coaches allow their business to affect their coaching of the client, because if the client has a bad day, one of them told me they had somebody, their previous coach say, "Well, why don't you come be on my team?"
Exactly. And that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, and I never want somebody to feel like that's ever going to be an
Yeah.
option for me to do, because for me it's the most important piece is that they are happy where they are, that they are getting the success that they want. Because if my clients aren't successful, guess what? They
You're not.
leave. I won't be successful. They'll leave, right? So one of the things that now that I've been doing this full time for almost 6 years, it'll be 6 years in just a couple of months. One of the things that I have started to see is that the clients that have stuck around with me, for some of them have been with me for 4, almost 5 years now. That right there is the hallmark of my coaching success.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
they've stuck around, that they have now been in the business long enough that they've surpassed that 5 year statistic
That's
of turnover. So I
that's
yeah. So that's where the shift into coaching happened, was at the end of 2016, early 2017. And then in 2019, I launched my podcast to help reach more people, help educate more
what's your
people.
podcast called?
It's called Badass Direct Sales Mastery.
I just wanted to hear that. I like to hear that. And that's the same name you have for your summits.
Yes, exactly. So I do an annual virtual summit that brings together people from all different industries who have amazing content, business mindsets, personal mindset, transformational coaching programs. I mean, just what I want to provide is a place for people to come get what they want or need that they would never find out about because their company isn't showing it to them. Not that their company is hiding it from them. It's just their company doesn't have access to the amazing, amazing people that I know around the world.
When is the
Part
next?
The next one is happening in March of 2023.
Yeah.
So very excited. So we are just now, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be starting to invite speakers to sign up. So I don't know who's going to be speaking on it. I will be inviting one particular Omu Obalor to come check it out because you were on the
I'd always
last
love.
one. Well, you were on the
I'd
last one
always
and you were
love.
fabulous. I mean,
I'd always love to. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
I love being able to share people from around the world with this
Yeah, it brings
audience.
different perspectives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the reasons that I personally was so successful was because I didn't rely on just what my company would show me. I went out, and because I joined BNI, um I was exposed to, number one, a ton of other direct sales leaders who were in other chapters, who were with other companies. And so I was able to learn what they were doing that was helping them be successful. And then I was able to take that back to my team and take that back to my leader and say, hey, I'm seeing this being done in Mary Kay, or I'm seeing this being done in Tupperware. I'm seeing this being, with these other companies. Why don't we give it a try? And because we were now pulling from all these different places, and I was learning from insurance agents how they were doing business, and I was learning from bankers and, oh my gosh, lawyers and all different kinds of people from a variety of businesses, because that's one of the great things about going out and networking is you meet a lot of different people in a lot of different businesses, and you can begin to learn what works. And relationship always works.
Absolutely. You never go wrong.
Exactly. So it's been an amazing journey. Had you told me 20 years ago I would be running my own business from a computer in my basement, I would have laughed at you.
There's a lot to celebrate then.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
The podcast has really taken off in the last year. It's exponentially getting bigger, more and more downloads. And so more and more people are finding it and sharing it. And what that tells me is that my amazing guests are helping to spread the word. They're doing a great job. And I am incredibly humbled and honored that so many amazing people have chosen to be on the show. I've had Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, who
really awesome,
who are the for people who are maybe going, those names sound familiar, but I can't place who they are. They are the co-authors of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So if people read any of those books, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen put that series together. Jack Canfield was also in the book The Secret, and in the documentary, the movie The Secret. I'm right now in talks with Bob Berg because a BNI member got me in touch with him. He wrote The Go Giver.
Bob's good. I've heard him talk. He's so good.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So I've had so many amazing people who are names that aren't well known, like Jack Canfield and Bob Berg and Mark Victor Hansen. Who just have made major differences in my audience's lives. And I've got a few listeners who regularly reach out to me and share with me, oh my gosh, that episode was so amazing. And, nice. They love sharing with me. And I love that my audience is starting to reach out. They're starting to come out of the shadows and actually connect with me, and which doesn't always happen in the podcast world. So I'm super excited that this is making the impact that I wanted it to make.
Awesome. So, that's what brings consistency. That's what happens when you're consistent.
Absolutely. And that's a great business concept, that's really how you get to living your best life is being persistent, have tenacity, and be consistent. All of those things will get you to the best life. And I think too, not waiting to feel happy is important. I'll be happy when I'll be happy. No, be happy now.
Wow, in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jenny. It's been an interesting afternoon here and morning for you. Thank you. I'm so happy that you were able to make it.
Oh, thank you, Omu. This has been an amazing conversation, and I really hope that you're
go on and on.
I know. I I hope your audience got some great nuggets for their own.
Yeah, please drop
life.
your comments, and you can also watch on YouTube as well. And then you can get to see Coach Jennie's pretty face and purple hair.
Absolutely. Now that's the fun thing is my audience, they only know I have purple hair because I talk about it, but they really rarely get to see it unless they connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn or something.
Okay then. Thank you, Jennie. I'm out. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Thrive with Omu podcast. This is your host, Omu Obilo.